kind words. So today I am here to discuss leadership skills for teachers. Now, teachers, they are generally, known for their teaching skills, how well they explain their subject. But the aspect that the teachers, they are most closest to the future of nation, which is the students, make them to be very much, it makes it very important and essential for them to be the leaders for them. For students to succeed, he or she must see his or her teacher as a leader and get inspiration. So this is what we're going to discuss. I have tried to give, very bullet short points so that we can discuss and I can give you a glimpse of what are the essential leadership skills that generally a teacher must have. Starting with, now there is a famous quote by William Arthur which states that the mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, while a great teacher inspires. So that part of inspiration is what has made teacher leadership a very important quality nowadays. Because the student diversity, even the diverse backgrounds from which students are coming and the rat race in which they are running, it is important for a teacher to guide them so that they are on the right path from the very start. So, what is basically, in a layman language, teacher leadership? It is the influence that goes beyond class boundaries, which drives positive change and inspires students, colleagues, and the community. So, it's a 360-degree effect that a teacher leadership should have. Why teacher leadership matters? Number one, it shapes educational policy because teachers are the one who are closest to this thing. So that is why it is important that a teacher should be a leader, and thus it helps to formulate for a government to formulate various educational policies that would result in better students. Second is a teacher leadership program in any institution helps to retain teachers because when a teacher knows that he or she is inspiring everybody, that inspiration or that path encourages a person to be loyal to the organization in which he or she is working. Third is strengthening interdisciplinary collaboration because teacher leadership is all about 360-degree change. So it helps to develop and strengthen more and more interdisciplinary collaboration, whether it is with teachers or students of diverse subjects. Next, it facilitates change management. So somebody rightly said that there is only one thing which is permanent, and that is the change itself. So a teacher leadership or a teacher with a leadership quality enables or helps to facilitate change management. It helps the organizations to, assimilate the changes very easily and successfully, right? Next comes, it encourages professional autonomy, right? So it helps to professionally relearn new learnings and, and enhance your knowledge. Characteristics of a teacher leader. Number one, visionary, because if we want to inspire, we have to have a view of what is going to come in the near future. So the very first characteristic of a teacher leader is that he or she needs to be a visionary. Empathetic, this word has gained, I guess, immense popularity recently. So empathy is putting yourself in other person's shoes. A leader who knows that my follower, or who understands what my follower want or what my follower needs or where is my follower lacking or what problem my follower or my subordinate or my student is facing, by getting into that person's place or situation will help the concerned leader to develop and to get more right solutions. Third, proactive. Now, there was a time when it was said to every action there is an opposite and equal reaction. But now, before action, what is important is to be very proactive, or thinking before anything happens, or reacting and before anything happens. Committed to your goal, to the development of your students, to the development of your institution. Reflective, you have to be aware, if you want to guide others, the first and the primary important thing is that you know where you are lacking, right? Unless and until you know that where you are lacking or the things, which you need to change in yourself, you cannot, inspire or ask or guide others to change. Sixth is analytical. You have to be analytical towards various situations that facing, adaptable to the change, and patience. Patience is a key that it's very important nowadays, given the mental health, the students, mental stress or psychological stress, the students and everybody. I would not say only students. Each one of us, the amount of mental psychological stress we are going through, it is imperative for a teacher who wants to become a leader, a successful leader, to be very patient towards students. Leadership skills for teachers. Now I have tried, you know, to include critical skills which, I think are very important for teachers, or, that would be, important for them to drive educational impact. So what I've done is I have grouped those skills in five categories. Number one is leading from within, which includes skills like professional development, ethical leadership, initiative, organization, and resilience. Second, I have is leadership through relationships, which includes skills like communication, emotional intelligence, collaboration, conflict resolution, cultural competence. Third, leadership through instruction. It includes classroom management, creativity, motivation, and technological proficiency. Next, category or head which I've made is leading with vision, which includes skills like visionary thinking, decision making, problem solving, and adaptability. And finally, leading to uplift others, mentorship, and delegation. So now we'll develop on these skills one by one. Number one is leading for within, which are primarily can be known as self-leadership and professional identity. It involves skills that establish the foundation for leading with integrity, vision, and discipline. So the first skill that comes under this is professional development, which means commit to lifelong learning. Always remember, if you are a teacher, that doesn't mean that you have learned everything. It is important to unlearn and relearn, because the day we stop learning, we will not be teachers anymore. Second is, and how can we do that? By attending workshops and training programs. Various reputed organizations like IoT, they are organizing diverse programs and workshops that dwell on diverse aspects, and attending those workshops and trainings help us to upgrade our knowledge. Then reflect on teaching practices. You need to evaluate, you have to be your self evaluator, you have to evaluate the practices, teaching practices you are following, and are they relevant when it comes to current scenario. Stay informed on trends and research. It is not that only if you're doing research as a part of your curriculum, then only you should be, you know, putting importance on research. No, it is important for you to do continuous research wherein you can come up with new teaching methods, new methods to uplift your students, new methods to make them learn things more interestingly or more enthusiastically. Second is ethical leadership, which involves uploading integrity and fairness. So here it is the first quality that, or the first skill that comes under this head is moral honesty and responsibility. See, a follower will do what his or her teachers do. So it is important that we set up a benchmark for our students, right? That yes, as their teachers, this is the honesty and responsibility the student should inculcate in themselves. Then promote ethical behavior, ensure fairness in discipline and grading. For a teacher, every student should be and needs to be equal. And the students need to realize this fact that yes, for my teacher, Irrespective of the background I'm coming from, irrespective of the marks I am getting, I am equal. Second is initiative, taking the lead. It means volunteer for leadership roles. Now, I'll be discussing a case study on this skill later on in the presentation. So, what it says that although you are a leader or not, that doesn't should impact on you taking the initiative of leading a program in which you feel that you can do something constructive, right? Then starting new programs and club. If you feel that yes, your institution or your organization needs certain new programs and clubs that can be of benefit to the students, then you must do that. You must inculcate that. You must come forward. Do not think, yaar, agar ye bhi kar liya, to ek aur responsibility will come on me. Do not come up with this mindset. Come up with this mindset ki yes, if I am or if I can do something for my students or for the betterment of my institution, I will do it. Drive improvements in your institution. Then comes organization. Unless and until you are organized, you cannot make your students organized. So yes, it is important that you stay organized and stay effective. So first is manage your time and tasks successfully and efficiently. Keep lesson plans and materials orderly. Whenever you teach your student, a student's progress increases or a student's learning is enhanced if you are, if you make the students learn in a organized way or in a step by step way, wherein a student knows that what I'm going to study next is dependent or is based on what concept I have studied initially. Then use various tools wherein you can track students' progress. Tools like Google Classrooms can help you in this. Then resilience. It is important that you have to lead with strength. Leading with strength is important that it helps so that you get any negative feedbacks or roadblocks you can remove them. So lead with strength would involve staying positive through your setbacks, then bouncing back from the challenges, no matter what challenge your organization or your student, if a challenging student comes to your class, you should bounce back. And if your results are not what you are expecting, you have to take it as a challenge and you have to bounce back and come up with more positive and better results. Model perseverance for students. Now, a student should feel that, if my teacher is working so hard and continuously working so hard, so it that your working hard quality will inspire your students to assimilate it and to work more harder. Second category of the skills is leadership, leading through relationships. So relations and inclusive leadership. It involves fostering trust, inclusion, and positive relations. We all know that man is a social animal. It is a right. No, it's a very popular quote. It says that man is a social animal. So if we live on relationships, so it is important that our leader or the leadership skills that we need to develop should include the skills or should include things that foster our relationship. Number one skill that comes is communication skills, that is communicating with clarity. It is not important that you communicate, it is important that you communicate with clarity. And when we say communicating with clarity, is that the message you want to send and in the sense you want to send is received by your recipient. It is not that you are saying something, you are communicating, but your listener is not able to understand it. So it is important for you that you communicate with clarity. And for this, what we can do is we can foster open dialogue with students, parents, and colleagues so that we can understand where we are lacking. Using of verbal and non-verbal both cues effectively and practicing active listening. It is good that we communicate, but a good speaker is one who listens nicely. So it is important that to be a good key speaker that we listen also effectively. Next is emotional intelligence. Right? Lead with emotional intelligence. Now it is important. It is has been recognized by various researchers all around the globe that emotional intelligence is playing a very important and a very prodigious role, whether it comes to your student life, or it comes to your work life, or it comes to your personal life. So it is important for a leader to understand that how important emotional intelligence is. How we can do is we can to by recognizing and managing the emotions. Our student, every student has a different set of emotion and comes up with a different set of emotions. So it is important for us to understand that what emotion a particular student is going through at a particular time and how we can help the student. Every year we hear or we read in newspapers whenever the results of various competitive exams or even 10th or plus two boards are declared. Suicide among students is very normal. It's very, 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 very on a higher rate. So it is important that at that point where your student is going to be, going through that situation or an emotion where he or she is feeling dejected due to unexpected results or results which are below expectations, how we are able to recognize that emotion and help our student to come out of it. Then empathize with students and colleagues. It is important that you do not always, if your student is not performing good, it is not important or it is not necessary that every time you come up with a strong reaction to that student or you scold that student or you give negative feedback to that student. It is important for us to empathize with the student or a colleague who is facing any problem, to understand what they are facing, to put us that what we would be feeling if we were at their places. So it is important that we empathize, build strong relationships. Now, when we talk about relationships, these relationships are not only the relationship with your students, it includes the relationship with your colleagues as well and with the stakeholders of the institution, that is the parents. So you have to build an all-round relationship with students, with parents, and with their colleagues. Next is collaboration. Always think that you have to it says, this point can be explained with the principle of synergy, which says 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. So we need to work together to succeed. It is not only an individual who will succeed. Even as individual players like Virat Kohli cannot help Team India to win if our bowlers do not bowl well or other players do not perform well, field well. So it is important that we work together and we understand this thing, that yes, this is the importance work of working together. Then share strategies and resources. Do not feel that if I'm going to share my learning or my knowledge with my teacher, my competitor will succeed or that teacher will be recognized more or my colleague will recognize more. No, you must share. If you're gonna share your strategies and resources, other person will also be encouraged to do the same. So it is important that you share, you know, knowledge that can help all of you. Engage with families and communities. So see, parents are important stakeholders when it comes to your institutions, schools, or colleges alike. So it is important that we engage the families of the students as well. Conflict resolution. Now, conflict resolution the important part is you resolve conflicts constructively. That means a conflict, a solution to the conflict should not result in another's conflict. It is important that a conflict resolution results in a positive outcome or a smoother relation or a smooth. So first thing is you need to address issues calmly and fairly. Do not see that person who's coming up with an issue that whether or not I am liking that person or whether or not what type of relationship I am having with that person. No, address every issue very calmly and fairly. Mediate through disputes. Do not be a catalyst when it comes to sparking conflicts, but try to mitigate or try to find out ways wherein you can reduce those conflicts. Then promote restorative practices. Now, if there is something which is negatively happening around you or the things which have led to conflicts, do come up with strategies which can restore peace and which can restore, you know, the situation back to normal. Try to make environment more and more positive and give it your best and try that, you know, you can create a positive environment around yourself. And this would certainly help you in long run. Then cultural competence. Teach with cultural awareness. As we discussed earlier, for a teacher, a student should not be categorized on the basis of what gender, caste, religion, or background or income group that student is coming from. We have to develop we have to develop a environment amongst us wherein every culture and every student from diverse background feels valued. So the one more thing is understand diverse background. If a student is coming from a very backward background, you need to understand in detail what background that student is coming so that you can develop teaching methods like that and you can help the student like that. Foster inclusive environment. It is important that each and every student feels that yes, I am a part of this class. A student should not feel that no, I am no longer important in this class. A student needs to feel that yes, I'm like every other student, I am also important. Then integrate multicultural content. Try to come up with activities which are multicultural, which involves a combination of different cultures, wherein wherein students or colleagues or people or participants from different cultures can come together, understand each other, value each other. Leading through instruction, that's the third head, which includes pedagogical and instructional leadership, it can be said. It involves elevating teaching and learning through classroom expertise and innovation. Classroom management. The first part is you have to master the classroom environment. Your classroom is a place you're going to spend the majority of your daytime in. So that is important that you master the environment you're going to survive in because as Charles Darwin said, survival of the fittest. So, how fit you are when it comes to your classroom environment will help you manage your class more efficiently and effectively. So, for that, the first skill you need to do is establish clear rules and routines. Your student should be aware of the fact that, okay, this is the way the this is the way the fitter is going to teach, and this is the way they're going to help. This is the way they're going to teach us. This is the way they're going to evaluate our performance, and this is their way of teaching us or taking quiz or discussion. Promote positive behavior. Try to inculcate positivity in your class by do not condemn if a student is not answering you right or if a student is not performing what you expect that student to perform. Do not uh, unnecessarily bash it. Try to inculcate positive behavior, maintain an engaging learning space. Your student should feel coming, should feel excited to be a part of your class because that student should feel, yes, he or she is going to learn something, learn something new. Next is creativity, right? So every nowadays we need, engaging our students' attention is one of the most tough task that the teachers face today. So it is important that you inculcate creativity in your teaching methods so that you can, arouse more and more interest of your students. So what you can do is develop engaging lessons. Try to give real life examples to your students. Try to make them try, you know, uh, ask them to come up with example about a concept. Discuss a concept with them and then ask them that cite something real or cite some real examples about it or how can you relate that concept to your real life. Then use innovative methods. Gone are the times where teacher used to speak in the class and students were just meant to listen. No, you have to come up with innovative methods like you can do discussion method. Then you can come up with case study method. You can come up with role playing with where you can ask your student to take your role and teach the and you become a student for a day. So come up with some innovative methods that keep your class interesting, that keeps your class engaging and that keeps the interest of your students intact. Encourage student imagination. Do not limit them to the classroom. Do not limit them to the present scenario in which they are studying. Ask them to get open up their awareness. Ask them to think about the things beyond classroom. Motivation, inspire learning and growth. Encourage students to do their best. use praise and constructive feedback, and foster a growth mindset. So it all involves how positively you can have an impact on your student. Technological proficiency nowadays, whether it is any sector you're working in, banking, education, corporate, your command on technology is one of the most important skill that you have to learn. So it is important for you to not only learn technology, new technological skills, but to master those skills also, so that you can use them more effectively and you can use them to create more effective and interesting uh, lectures or classrooms. Support student tech use. Ask your student to come up and help your student. Support your student to learn new technology which he or she can apply later on in higher education. Keep up with educational technological trends. Keep up your knowledge should be up to date about what are the trends in technology that are going to impact your students or that learning or that are going to impact your teaching process. So be up to date with that. Next step head is leading with vision, which involves strategic and adaptive leadership. This leadership is meant for driving sustainable improvement through data, vision, and agile thinking. So first thing that comes into mind is visionary thinking. That is, you cannot increase the awareness of your student unless and until you open up the doors of awareness of yourself. So it is important that you think beyond classroom. Do not limit yourself that okay, this is the lesson I'm going to complete today. Okay, I will be only completing this lesson. Only this topic I will be completing. Try to inculcate real life examples or case studies in your lessons, so that try to inculcate examples in your environment around us so that students can relate to it. Inspire innovation aligned with school mission. See, it is important that you know what your school or college mission is, and you align yourself to that. If your school's mission is to be a forefront in computer science, the computer science education, or a college or college vision is to be a front runner when it comes to management education. Align yourself to that. Increase your knowledge, update your knowledge, and update yourself to that. Decision making. Now, decision making is not simply taking a decision, it involves making informed decisions. And making informed decisions depend upon how critically you analyze the situation, how critically you are weighing the pros and cons of the situation. Just because I am finding that this situation is easy for me doesn't mean that I will only say, okay, only say good things about that situation. It is important that I also say, I also see and I also give due importance to the negative points of those situations. Act in the best interest of student, right? So it is important that whatever you do, whatever actions you take, they should be in best interest of your students. Because after at the end of the day, your students are your students are whom you're meant for. Then problem solving, tackle challenges head on. Do not avoid problems. If problems have coming in your path, see them, face them, and come up with solutions that are constructive. So what you can do for that is you can identify first important task is identify the root causes. Try to figure out why such a situation arises. Then develop practical solutions. And one of the most important things you can do is involve your students in critical thinking. If there is a problem which is related to student learning or which is related to student emotion or which is related to teaching, ask your students to critically analyze it and think of how can we can solve that situation. Then adaptability, embrace change. As I quoted earlier also, there is one thing permanent in this world, and especially in current scenario, change which is happening so rapidly, right? So it is important that we adapt to it by embracing the change. And what we can do is adjust to curriculum updates, NEP 2020 is a classical example of this. How drastic or how much change is that it has brought to not only school education, even for university or college education also. So it is important for us to adjust to these curriculum updates, innovate with new teaching methods, stay flexible with student needs. Every student is not same. Some may be advanced learners, some of your students may be slow learners. So your goal should not be that, if my advanced learner is able to understand the concept, I am done with it. No, it is you should be flexible enough to accommodate your slow learner students also. You need, understand and make sure that they are also able to learn it. Leading, and the last, heading that I have made on this is leading to uplift others. So everybody see, uh, you know, if they say lead like this, it is we'll lead it, but it is important and it is very important that what we do, how we inspire, helps other person to uplift in terms of knowledge gain, in terms of you know uh, understanding, right? So so it is basically involving empowerment and capacity building leadership. You not only empower your students, but also you help them enhance their capacity, right? And it involves developing others and cultivating leadership across educational ecosystem. So the first thing that comes under is mentorship. Nowadays, various schools and colleges are coming up with mentor-mentee program. UGC and NAC has also made it a very important point when whenever NAC comes up with certain evaluation of educational institution. So their mentor-mentee program is very important. So it is important that you run such programs in your institution, right? And it will not only involve, mentoring your students, but also your peers also. So you need to support not only your students, but also the new teachers that are coming into your organization. Share your experience, share your expertise, share the things you did wrong, so they do not repeat it. Share where, the things which helped you, the skills that helped you, or you know the resources that help you. Encourage professional growth. If your colleague is gearing up for a higher professional degree or a higher professional level, encourage that person to achieve it. Delegation, share responsibilities. You cannot do everything together, all alone. So it is important that you share. Empower students with roles. Do not limit your student to be a student only. Empower your student so that he or she is ready to take up more efficient and more diverse role and more tougher roles, right? So ask them if you know using activities like role playing in the class, or the activities which are MUN, or being organized in various educational institutions or schools and colleges coming up with their MUNs or youth parliaments is a very good initiative and a very important initiative towards this, because through these activities students understand that okay, when they're gonna get out of there, or they're gonna step out of their student life, these are the things that are going to impact them. Work with teaching assistants effectively. If you are working in a university, or if a teaching assistant is working with you, so work with that teaching assistant effectively. Do not only think that okay, that teaching assistant is only meant to do what I am telling that person to do. Work with that assistant collaboratively and effectively. Collaborate in team settings. If you will, if you will work in a team, or if you will, be more inclined towards working in a team, your students will also learn to work in a team and to be a part of team and to value team. So it is important that you collaborate in team settings. So this is basically a summary of what skills we studied, or what skills we have discussed. So I put a summary of, what leadership domain it is, and what are the key skills, and how practically we can, imply it in our classroom. Number one skill is leading from within. The skills that require is your resilience and initiative. So one of the classic examples that can come for this skill would be staying calm under pressure. You have a deadline to complete. You have to submit your question papers. You have to complete your registers. You have to take remedial classes of your students. You have couple of other responsibilities, non-teaching administrative duties also that you are doing. So you have to have a calmness in yourself wherein you tackle situations calmly and with focused mind. Second domain is leading to relationships. The qualities that or the skills that come under that include communication and cultural awareness. And one of the classroom impact example would be building trust with parent. A parent should not feel insecure when he or she sends her watch to you. That parent should feel secure, okay, should be assured of this fact that yes, my child is in a safer environment and whatever, you know, and I am being communicated regularly about my student, whatever is happening in my child's life when he or she is in the school. Third is leading through instruction. Now, here the skills that are going to come into play would be motivation and classroom management. Again, a classroom example for this would be engaging low participating students, which we discussed earlier also. It is very easy for us to inculcate, to involve our advanced learners or active students or who are very intelligent, I would say, or who are performing well. But your task would be in this to engage low participation students, those students who are still in their shell, who needs a kick start from you to come up of their shell, realize their potential. It is important for you to, encourage those and engage those students and make them come into front and make them more participative. Right? Next is leading with vision. The qualities that would come under this would be decision making and adaptability. A classroom impact example would be leading curriculum revision project. So it is rather than you know outside rather than you getting a revision, curriculum revision, try to give your inputs as to what you think that this needs to be revised in your curriculum or this needs to be changed in the curriculum so as to make it more relevant in current scenario. Leading to uplift others, it would include, as we discussed earlier, mentorship and delegation. So a classic example again would be coaching a new teacher in team meeting. If a new teacher is coming up who is not aware of how things work in the institution or how people work in teams over here, so it becomes important for you to be a leader or to be a teacher leader, to be a leader precisely that you coach that new teacher to understand so that the problems that you faced when you joined a particular institution, that person or the new joinee is able to avoid those. So this is a small case study that I wish to discuss with you. And let us start with it is Miss Roderick's leadership journey. So it is basically Miss Roderick's and the school-wide leadership initiative. So it's in brief. I've tried to cover this case study in brief. So it says Miss Sybil Rodriguez, a dedicated ninth grade teacher at Lincoln Elementary, had a passion for literacy and a talent for engaging her students with reading and writing. She consistently achieved higher literacy outcomes in her classroom. However, Miss Rodriguez recognized that literacy rates across the school were lagging, particularly in younger grades. Believing that a school-wide approach was needed, she decided to take the initiative to improve literacy outcomes for all the students. Now, despite not being in formal leadership position, Ms. Rodriguez began by so how from a formerly a non-leader, a teacher became a leader. Now, what she did, uh, she started by gathering data, right? As we discussed when we discussed about various leadership skills. So we thought that, your leadership should be based if you're leading somebody or you should do, saying something, or if you are, proving something, it is important that you have a data that is based on it. So for the first step she took was she started gathering data. She analyzed the school-wide reading scores, met with teachers in different grades to understand the challenges they faced in literacy instruction, building a coalition. She informed a small group of like-minded teachers who were passionate about leadership and who were passionate about literacy and willing to collaborate on a solution. Third, she came up with a proposal. The group, she along with the group, they come up with a proposal about implementing a school-wide literacy initiative that included evidence-based strategies, professional development for teachers, increased parental involvement, and finally advocating for change. Ms. Rodriguez and her coalition presented the proposal to the student, principal, and the school board, passionately adopting for its adoption. Now, the result was her efforts led to the implementation of a new literacy program, ongoing professional development, and family literacy workshop. So, what she could achieve was over the next 2 years, she didn't even, it is not that she has applied an initiative, she has applied a program. She feels, okay, as a leader, I have applied a program. Now, okay, it's fine. It is important for you to also analyze that what result that program or what feedback that program has come up with. So in this case, over the next 2 years, the school saw a significant improvement in overall literacy rate. So a simple teacher, by adopting the role of a leader, initiated a program that brought in a positive result for the school, not only for the students, but for the entire school. So the questions that that comes up when we discuss about this leadership, this case study is the first question that comes is what leadership skills did Miss Rodriguez demonstrate? So in my view, these are the leadership skills that Miss Rodriguez demonstrated. I would appreciate if the audience, come up with some other skills that you feel that Miss Rodriguez applied while, in this case study. So anyone who can come up with, apart from these skills, or anybody who wants to put a point or give an input that, okay, these were the things why Miss Rodriguez was able to succeed, or why was, these are the things that Miss Rodriguez applied. Anybody? What other skill what other skill you feel that, might be, used by her? So we have got one reply that says teamwork, right? Okay, teamwork. Anybody else? And at any skill that you think apart from these which Roderick should have applied or have applied? Okay, so let us proceed to the next question. How did Miss Roderick's influence change without holding a formal leadership situation petition? See, we always say that unless and until things come on to us, I will not take responsibility of anything. So, Miss Rodriguez in this case didn't had any formal leadership position, but she still took up that challenge and she took up that initiative. Sorry, she took up that initiative and came up with this program. So what? So first thing that, excuse me for a minute. So first thing is she used her expertise and passion to identify a problem and propose a solution. So that is that she didn't limited herself. She didn't limited herself to the classroom only. She didn't limited herself to only classroom teaching. She came up, she thought that, she had the expertise on leadership that she could apply. Second is she built a coalition of support among her colleagues. So the second thing she did was gave importance to working as a team together. Third, she effectively communicated her ideas to the decision makers. If she had any idea, she was, you know, uh, and excited, or she was responsible enough to come up with those ideas and communicate them clearly with the decision maker. She demonstrated that leadership can come from any role. So you don't need to be a very, it is not important that you have leader as your designation to be a leader. Any role you are in and you feel that, over here in this situation, for this aspect or for this, thing, I can take a lead, do take it. Next is, what challenges Ms. Rodriguez have faced and how did she overcome them? So the challenges which I feel would be this. Again, I would appreciate if some of you can answer that, how to overcome with the challenges that I mentioned over here. How, if you were in her place, how would you have faced those challenges? Anyone, let us, make this class an interactive one. How do you feel that, these are the challenges? Think yourself as a leader. These are the challenges that you are facing. How do you think if you were in, her place, you would have faced it? Okay, so, in my view, the challenges that she faced was resistance to change, lack of resources, bureaucracy, time constraints, and maintaining momentum. And she overcame it with her zeal and resilience, that okay, and with the support of her team. So these are the things that helped her. So this is again a question that okay, team dynamics, we have an answer from Kavita. Yes, team dynamics, very important. How dynamic your team is, it's important. Anybody else coming up with any viewpoint? Okay, how important was collaboration in the success of this initiative? See, as I quoted earlier, alone Virat Kohli is not enough to make us win World Cups. It's a group effort, it's a team effort. So yes, it is important. It is important that we work as a team. So collaboration played a very important, and I would say a pivotal role in success of this initiative. Ms. Rodriguez's effectiveness was marked and right, so integration and Ms. Rodriguez's effectiveness was markedly enhanced through her collaborative engagement with fellow educators. Integration of diverse perspective was again an important part in this. And last, the question would be, what lessons about teacher leadership can be learned? In my view, these are the lessons that I learned from this, leadership. One was, any teacher can be a powerful leader, even if you are not in a formal position. Effective leadership involves identifying problems, building relation, and advocating change. Collaboration is essential for successful change initiatives. Data and evidence can be powerful tools for influencing decisions. So, any other lesson you think that you have learned from this case? Please come up with your inputs. Yeah, again, a nice initiative. Going beyond boundaries is again a nice thing that can be learned. So these are something reflective questions that I would want each one of the participants to go through. Try to ask those questions. Try to ask these questions to yourself that, what do you feel that you know, attending to the personal development needs of students, very right points and a very important lesson that we have learned from this day. So these are the questions that you know, think every teacher should reflect upon. Number one is not every teacher, but an every individual should, reflect upon. You think that any particular leadership skill you are effective in, come think about it. Think about how it can help the people around you. What area would you like to develop, and how can you begin tomorrow? Just don't only think, okay, I have this leadership, okay, I'll do something. Try to figure out that how can I use it? How can I start? How can I help it? How can I use my skill in this? So this is a task that I have for each one of you. This week, pick up a skill, a leadership skill, apply it to in your daily life, and journalize that reflections. Figure out that okay, I did this, I selected a skill amongst the skills we have discussed today. And come up with any skill you feel okay, and this is the skill I am interested in, this is the skill I have, this is the skill set I have, this is the skill set I can work with, I can, with use of which I can help others. Figure out it, apply it, and journalize your reflection. So what I've done is I have, this is a template of our teacher leadership reflection journal that I have used. Use this thing, ask these questions to yourself, figure out what you have done, answer that okay, in this week I have done this, in this week I have done this, and try to find out the answers of these questions. That okay, and reflect to yourself that where I was lacking, where I could have improved myself, where could I have been a better leader, or where could I could have used my skill more efficiently. So this is a template which each one of you can use, right? Thank you for your and the one thing is this, the thing in this and journal which I particularly feel is important is, uh, if you see, it starts with 5 skills that we have discussed. Then your action commitment. You have to see that, okay, pick up one leadership each week and then see, okay, this week I'll be focusing on my leading within myself. Next week I'll be working how I'll be leading through relationships around me. Then instructions, then vision and uplifting others, or any order you feel comfortable in. Take that, leadership skill in your journal. See what, write out this was the action I took. And also, the important part why I've, replayed this slide is review your progress. Don't only feel, okay, I will be implying this, I've applied this, I've applied this. Review your progress. Make a date, mark a date. Okay, for this week I am applying this skill. For this week I'm going to be inspiring others like this. And this is the action I'm going to take. This is the result I am looking for. And this is the date I'm going to review what I've done. Then thank you for your attention, everybody. And remember one thing, leadership starts from you, and it is, do not bound yourself to your designated roles only. You are meant for much more, and any situation, whether professional, personal, you feel, I can take charge of this situation. I can take, I can lead this situation. I can lead others in this situation, or I can help others to sail through this situation. Do come up with. Do not wait for others to shrug you up and to bow, to pat you up that okay, come up, but to wake you up. Wake up yourself. Always remember that each one of us has a leader within. It is just for us to recognize that leader within us, to recognize that how we can inspire and how we can help others to aspire higher. So with this, I come up to the end of my presentation, and I hope I was able to, add to your awareness, or add, give you a perspective, a new perspective apart from your teaching role. So any questions or any point or